All right, so that's one of my students right there. Let me see. Yes. And you see it big enough?
Perfect. Yep. It's
Yeah,
all
okay.
clear.
All right, so guys, what we were like, guys, we're not even live, and I always do. I'm used to my life, but now whoever is going to see that video, so that's the student of mine when he started with me, and like there are a few things we're gonna pick apart of the serve, and as I said, it's all to make the player better. Just want to make sure people know that. And then just like super quick, Dylan, on the serve. Like if you name like three things that players on the recreational level do wrong on like commonly, like what do you see a lot when you teach?
So personally, I see from the clubs that I'm working at, a lot of the players struggle with the timing of the ball toss and the racket. Honestly, to actually sync those two together is one of the hardest things. So to work on some timing exercises, even without your racket, let's say you place the ball up into the air for your ball toss and you catch it with your racket hand. So without the racket,
Hmm.
it's just timing, sequencing exercise. Another thing would be for sure how a player uses their legs. So are they actually loading with their legs, or are they just are they falling off balance and things like that? So I love what exercises such
Hmm.
as the hip holding, staying stable, not even moving your feet when starting. It just helps people to have a better, stronger platform before actually striking the ball. And then the other thing is just honestly watching the ball. A lot of players they whip their head, their arm pulls down very quickly, but actually just once that ball is being placed in the air, just keeping your eyes tracking the ball even after you finished your shot with the racket motion, your eyes are still and head is still very stable. So those are a few things that I would say definitely need to
Yeah.
be focused on.
All right, let's get all right. Let's start with this. Let's just watch that serve one time, and then all right. So and it might have been, it might have been a warm-up serve still, like, that he didn't have like crazy action on it, but still I want to pick it apart because a lot of kids, even when they don't, when they practice the serves, they're not doing what they're supposed to do. So let's get to it. So Dylan, let's break the serve a little bit down. So at the beginning, let's just go. So as we can see here, the ball bounce, how important is that? Like,
Just calm the mind or think about what you're doing. Inhale, exhale, just to take your time. I mean, every top pro bounces the ball just to give them that little reset. And you can
reset
see so
for
he's also leaning on his front leg, so his weight is shifted forwards first, which is nice.
yeah. And then the ball bounce, as you said, forgetting, if you had a bad point, for example, the prior to the serve, just forgetting that and just focusing on the serve. I like that. The weight is on the front leg, like you said, right here. All right.
That's
So
it.
what's happening?
Yep, shifting onto the back leg as well, and he's initiating the start of his ball toss. I like how it's aligned as well. It looks like it's pointing towards the right hand net post as he's
Yeah.
righty. So he's starting to coil his shoulders. You can see his chest with the is that hawks? What does that say?
Yeah, that's probably his high school.
But he's showing me the chest side on.
Yes.
That's good.
All right, Dylan, what do you think about do you think that's sometimes I see that with the kids. The right foot, you think it's too far back, or do you think like if he can handle it to get the right foot early enough to be able to push off and time, because you were talking about timing earlier. So in his case, if he can coordinate that, you find when they have like a super big first step.
I personally don't mind a bigger step as long as his sequencing of how he brings his leg up is pretty well established. I would say he will probably feel more weight on the back leg when his feet are wider apart.
Hmm.
Personally, I don't too far wide if I'm going for like a pinpoint stance.
Hmm.
But let's say if he wants to really feel the load on that back leg, there are some players out there that like bringing their front toe off the floor as well, because then you can feel more weight on your back foot.
Hmm.
And then some you bring your toe back down, you actually feel your toe actually like tapping on the floor. So it
Yeah.
gives you that little bit more of a shift.
Hmm. Okay. And then what we can see here is like, bringing, it's what's important, bringing the tossing arm and the racket towards the waist. So that's kind of, where you want to get down. Actually, that's pretty decent what he's doing there, starting up and then having both arms around waist level before he starts separating them, right?
It's not really low, like swooping in through his leg or
Hmm.
on the outside of his leg either. Sometimes people have a really big,
Hmm.
long all toss arm, so just a smaller, more compact,
Okay.
definitely. I
So
like the racket separation now, what he's doing. Nice, keeping the racket. Excellent. Good. And just hold it there for one moment
yeah.
so you can see the position that he's now in. I mean, yeah, I don't know if it's the warmth serves, but also you can see like the feet are a little wider apart now. So that
Hmm.
maybe if it's a pinpoint stance, maybe just getting his feet a little more aligned closer together so he's
Yeah.
able to store the energy. And because sometimes that right leg might be opening up his hips earlier because his leg is coming around slightly, but I think he's in a not bad position. Just could be keeping the back foot closer to the front one.
Okay. And
I love
then
the elbow positioning here because he's keeping
yes,
the racket nice and close. You can, if you were to draw a line from that ball toss arm all the way down towards, yes, that's it. And
shoulder
the
over
same
shoulder, right? Yeah.
shoulder over shoulder, 90-degree angle, and then
Hmm.
same thing with hips. I would like to see like the shoulders and the hips. Yeah,
Yeah.
so two lines across.
Hmm. That's always,
Maybe if you went forwards a tiny bit more. I like the ball toss. Can you
yeah. And
see?
as you can see, the ball toss, like let's pause it because we always when the ball is at the highest point right here, that's when
That's
you
it. It's not that high.
yeah, no,
It
it's good. I think
looks
it's
like
good
a very
too.
tall.
And that's what I said earlier, Don. If the kids have a higher ball toss, if it would be right here, up here where the lamppost is, then they're gonna drop the racket head too early. So that's he has a good ball toss.
Or waiting. They may have to
Hmm.
delay and their whole sequencing might have to just be paused a little longer. So that's it. And then
Okay.
he's
And then
a
let's
little
talk
bit
about his
more.
knee bend. I know you wanna because
Yep.
you're very in fit, like stretching fitness. Like I see, I love your videos. So the load for sure
Yep.
is you
So
can
the load, yeah, definitely we need a bit more loading on the back leg and more stored energy from the legs. So a lot of exercises I would personally would like to see is just maybe putting a ball on a cone, picking the ball up from the cone and throwing it
yeah, I
up
like
into
that one.
so you can just fire the elbow up into the sky.
Yeah.
Same thing with doing like 2 feet together, uh, loading to jump up as high as you can.
Hmm.
It's like wanting to do like a slam dunk,
Yeah.
like you're up into the sky. Just anything to get the legs down just a little bit lower, shifting onto the back leg, because you also want to imagine how you're coiled. So your energy is being stored to being released. So making sure that, yeah, we can just see the shoulders turned a little bit more, but it looks like he's just about to accelerate. So
Yeah.
I'd
And
like to
then
see,
you see how his so this position here in the leg phase, right? So when the legs extended and he exploded up, you can see the racket tip pointing down, which is,
yeah, yep, great. His elbow flexibility there is very good. You
yeah.
can see how his elbow is driven up to the sky. His eyes are looking at the ball, chest nice and tall as well.
Hmm.
Offhand, about to start tucking.
Yeah.
Great
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah,
maybe could tuck a little bit better, right?
yeah, be a bit more. Yeah, like people say, like under the armpit or on the stomach. But you
Yes.
can see the contact point. He's quite straight, so he
Yeah.
could be contacting a little further inside the court. He's still
Right.
looking at, which is great. I see.
Yes. I know a
I
lot of
see. They look forwards by the time they're making contact. So
so
and
so the left arm, Dylan, why is that important? His is hanging there. Why would you like to see that a little bit higher on chest level so they tuck it in
yeah,
a little bit more?
it's like your counterbalance. It's
Hmm.
the break force of because your racket's accelerating so fast, your offhand will be tucking into the body to prevent your body from like pulling and over rotating. You've seen players like Andy Murray in the past where his arm swings out to the side and behind
Yeah.
him. But firstly, their arm actually tucks into the stomach
Yes.
or their chest before it then free flows and extends out. So
Like the
Yeah,
same like
just
with
a
the
little
forehand when
close.
they hit the forehand, they have the left arm up and then they keep it like kind of here so they balance it out.
Yeah, like Sinner style. He's very
Yeah,
good at
yeah.
being solid. Yeah. So yeah,
Wow.
offhand tucked in.
And then Dylan, when I looked at so right here,
Did he did he pronate or is he
no, that's exactly that great eyes there because I was looking at that a little bit. I can zoom
like
in a little. So you can see
wanting?
the wrist, basically the wrist. So he did not do the long axis shoulder pronation. He didn't go like this. What he did is basically he flicked the wrist, after
Wow.
look, it's I
Yeah.
watched it yesterday a little bit more. Look, when I let me try to zoom even more. And so look, right
Got amazing
here.
ability to be able to do that. But
Yeah, that's why look,
has to.
you see how the wrist
Wow.
goes in that direction, but he did not
Wow.
pronate.
I mean, yeah, you can definitely see definitely the hand needs to just relax to pronate outwards. It looks like he's hitting a lot from the left to right as opposed to going back to front. But again,
Yes.
he might hit a slice serve here. It looks like he's trying to arc the ball with a little
Hmm.
bit of possibly.
So Dylan,
But
quick question. I'm
mhm.
sorry I interrupt you. So when you see, that's what I get sometimes when they say, oh, the coaches on social media, some of them that work on the pronation or just on the showing it on the field. There's this drill where you stand next to the fence, right, and then you go up, and then you just go and pronate. So that's what people don't understand. Like, he doesn't pronate, for example, on that serve, right? So there must be methodical steps where you show the player that they feel what they're doing, right? So it's not. I always see like, oh, some players, some people say it's show when coaches do those things, but here you can see he's not doing it. So how do you
Yeah.
teach him?
So I would definitely go from the steps of going from the edge strings. And then
Hmm.
after, what I would do is then I would make his hand face towards the camera. So
Yeah,
it would towards us. So you'd finish really high. Your elbow would stay high, and then your hand would be, yeah, facing towards us. You could even get him throwing a tennis ball. You could
and
get him
finishing like that, right?
just holding a finish there
Hmm.
just to relax the hand. I like the term people sometimes say like you're flicking water off your hands and then you're letting your hand to relax to flick outwards.
I like
But
that. I
I
learned
like
something. I like that.
I like even just I mean I'm going to post a video soon. It's of me just standing close to the net,
Hmm.
seeing the ball down into the court, and just
Yeah,
freeze after you finish, and just be aware of where your hand position is. And I love the one I really like is actually when somebody serves, they
hmm.
drop their or they keep their racket still here, and then can they high five the person next to them?
Ah,
So
okay.
let's say your young student here, he serves, can he high five his strings on my hand? Because here it looks like he's high fiving not with the ball contact side, but with the
The frame.
opposing. Yeah, 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 with the frame. Yeah. So can he well pronate through, but not actually saying pronate. Can you high five my hand? If I put my hand here and your racket finished, can you high five my hand?
I
So
like I like that. That's why I love, I love sharing ideas and things with other coaches. You see how the flicking the water off, I love that. So because as you know, there's
is
so
that
many players that some coach would have said like you use a whip, right? So some coaches say, like you said, with the water, flicking the water off the hand, because every player receives the information differently. So I believe like if you have more drawers to pull out with, you're gonna
yep.
reach the players better.
Yeah, I always say like because you can't if you flick water this way, what's faster, this way or this way? And when you flick that way, can you see how my hand turns out?
Yeah.
Whereas here, it's like like you're waving or flapping with your hand like
Yeah.
anyway.
No, I
Yeah.
like that. And then it turns a little bit right here, but like it's not supposed
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be right after contact. All right, so he has his own motion. So, but pausing it here, then
Mhm.
like what about his feet? And then it relates earlier as always cause and effect. Since he didn't bend earlier, right? He couldn't jump inside the court because there was
Yeah.
no.
To drive up and into the court. I always say explode up as high as you can, like a rocket, and then you'll land hopefully inside the baseline. So up and in, not just forwards. You want to
Yes.
drive up ball first. It's an upwards throwing motion. That's what I would usually say. But
Yeah,
yeah, like you said, he didn't explode enough with the legs, so he wasn't able to drive up and forwards. But
yeah.
a lot of
And then
good
that's
points, though.
yeah, no, definitely. I like how you point out. Sometimes I catch myself pointing always the bad things out, but like I like how you're very positive and yeah, a lot of good points, a lot of some tweaking, and yeah, just wanted to do that. That's always fun. I'm gonna do that with
Yeah,
with my other guests.
no, thank you for